Here we are starting off with a graph, and the first thing I do anytime I see a graph on an AP Calc test is I want to know what that graph is. And what they're telling us right now is that this is the graph of the function of f. And so what we know we're looking at is we're looking at that original function. We're looking at the graph of f of x right now. The graph consists of a quarter circle of radius 3 and a segment with a slope -1. So that quarter circle is going to start and stop right in this region here. And then we're looking at this other space, which is where the slope of -1 comes in. And they're asking us a question about a definite integral here. They want to know what b value, let b be a positive number, such that the antiderivative from 0 to b would equal 0. And then they want us to find out what that value is. What this problem is really doing is wanting us to understand how we use an integral to add up the area between the curve and the x-axis. As you look at a problem like this, remind yourself that anywhere the graph is up above the x-axis, that's where you would have positive area. And anywhere the graph is down below the x-axis, that's where you would have negative area. And so ideally, if we want to find out where this area is going to equal 0, you would want this to sort of be equal amounts of positive and negative, so that when I added those two things up, when I took my positive area and added it to my negative area, that those areas would basically cancel each other out and equal 0. So you look over at this problem and they start talking about your quarter circle and your slope segment. And that's because very often on these problems, what they want you to do is they want you to use traditional geometry formulas to be able to calculate out the area between the curve and the x-axis, even when you don't know the equation. So in this one, they're talking about a quarter circle. That would be area equals 1/4 pi r squared. And then when we look at this second section over here where they're talking about the slope, well, as you see, I sort of drew this blue line up and down right here because when you look at that, you want to look at that as the area of a triangle. And so the formula on that would have been 1/2 base times height. The good news for us on this problem specifically is we wouldn't have had to do either of those calculations. And the reason is, look at what you have in front of you. So when I talk about positive area versus negative area, I can see that all I have down below here is negative area for that quarter circle because it's all below the x-axis, and I have nothing but negative area going on over here for this triangle shape. So there's no way I could ever add two negatives to make up a 0 come out of it. A negative and a negative is always going to give me some negative area no matter what it is. And so what we know about this problem is we don't actually have to go through any other trouble because this one is going to be answer C. There is no such b value that will give us out a 0. There's no value that we could possibly have that would make sure that our positive area and our negative area were the same amount and therefore canceled each other out to equal 0. So prepping you for the future with some of this information on the video, but the reality of this one problem is the answer is no such b value exists, and you could walk away pretty quickly. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.